for negotiations to commence with a matter of urgency.
For showing
we also call for the release
ability,
of prisoners of war and the return of children who've been removed from their homes and their parents.
For showing kindness to
and
others,
we also call for greater humanitarian support and assistance
when you are
for
helping
those
one another, it is
who
a
are
gift.
in
When
great
you are
need.
kind to your neighbor, it is a gift. It's within
And we
you,
also
and you are
said that
exercising it. May
the
God
talks
bless you with those gifts
that should lead
according
to
to
a
His word
peace
in Jesus' name.
deal should
In the
also
book,
deal
going
with the
back to this
issue
book,
of
The Holy
reconstruction
Ghost
post the war.
overcomes satanic
We use the
forces.
meetings to
In
highlight
same
the
Bible,
damaging
the man of
effect
God
that
has taken the
this
book
conflict
of Corinthians, 1
between
Corinthians
Russia
2,
and Ukraine
14, verse 15
is having
says,
on African countries
"Whoever
and
has the
economies,
Spirit, however,
contributing
is able
to food
judge
shortages
the value of
and the rise in
everything,
cost of
and
living."
no one is able
The Netherlands
to judge
says
it.
it
Who
appreciates
can
the
judge
opportunity
his servant?
to get a
May
briefing
God remember
about some
you.
of the burning
May
issues.
God bless you. May God
very
give you the
fortunate
fruit
to
of
get
this
the
time.
debrief from
As
your
you now
visit
know the
to
word,
both Kyiv
may it be
and
accepted
to
in our
St.
heart. Thank you
Petersburg,
for
the
next
last couple of
program.
days.
Jesus
You just
loves
returned.
you and He cares for you, and the Spirit of God will
we have to
destroy
continue
every
that conversation
yoke and
because that
bondage.
is important.
Goodbye and God bless.
The role we can all play to stabilize the situation, but also to get more insight on what is happening here in Africa. You update us on the DRC, on Mozambique, but also the broader questions and opportunities in Africa, particularly the free trade zone is now being established and the effect that is having now. And it's very interesting to hear that where traditionally for South Africa the relationship with Europe will be number one.
The Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has stressed that strong democracies must cooperate to find peace and stability.
We have so many challenges in front of us.
You are my God.
We are facing old and new
Who
conflicts
saved
in
my
countries.
life?
We are once again
The
facing
Savior.
a war in Europe. And none of those conflicts and wars can be handled without a strong cooperation between democracies.
The
And
King
you have
of Glory.
for more than 30 years
saved
now
mankind.
been one of the strong supporters of
The Savior.
international rule-based international society. You are a strong voice globally and in Africa. And therefore we are here accountable to hear your perspectives.
South Africa seems to be attracting a number of international envoys, and even the French top diplomat is in town. And she has hinted that President Emmanuel Macron will come for BRICS summits later this year.
In you, oh Lord, I got my peace. In you, Jesus, I got my healing. In you, Savior, I got my blessing.
Just like the European Paris for most of us, national peace.
Meanwhile, German Foreign Affairs Minister Annalena Baerbock is expected to come to our shores. The Russia-Ukraine conflict will take center stage
You
as
are
well.
my God.
Kylie Sherikamado, SABC
Who
News,
saved my
Pretoria.
life? The Savior.
You are my God.
And able to
Save my life. The
we
Savior.
have a means testing
The King of Glory.
work for 25 years.
Who saved
Who
mankind.
can qualify
The Savior.
The King of Glory.
Who turned the tides.
Who saved my God.
that
The ones who changed to
The
know
Savior.
the next group
because they never stopped asking, what's next?
5% will get
For 17 years,
85
Asdar has been making history as a global leader in clean energy, advancing in renewable energy and green hydrogen,
You are my God.
and ambitions to light
Who saved my life?
tackling climate change and
The Savior.
You are my God.
and economies
Who saved my life.
across
I mean, those are
championing
The King of Glory.
sustainable future,
Who saved mankind.
for the nation to host
The Savior.
Asdar continues to drive innovation,
Who saved my God.
and power the future, because no never stops.
Who saved my life.
the celebration
The Savior. The King of Glory.
You came from heaven, deliver my soul.
houses, famous like
You came from heaven, hey, oh my Lord. You came from heaven,
fighting wars,
you came from
corruption, but overnight locking up dozens of powerful people, not letting them out.
What Saudi Arabia's government called
You are my God, who saved my life, the Savior.
Barely changed at all for a very long time. It was about to change things. And the guy behind it was this young, inexperienced, trying to make
A king of glory, who saved mankind, the Savior.
Justin Sheck,
Blood and oil where they have been attempting to damage Mohammed bin Salman's right to power.
shows when unlikely someone obscure perhaps far down in the line of succession to the guy who's running
In your own love,
You wanted to start from scratch.
I got my peace.
a lot of people
In you, Jesus,
generously into
I got my healing.
willing to do so
In
outside
you,
of their
Savior,
Covered the gamut.
I got my blessing.
We also, based on the
bado kumekuwa na changamoto ya usalama na kuna wale wanafunzi ambao walitarajia kujiunga na JSS sasa hivi hawana madarasa. Hatima yao sio wanakutazama sasa hivi wanajiuliza
You are my
all of a
God,
sudden run by a very young man.
who saved my life,
Mohammed bin Salman style came from older brothers.
Went off and did their own thing. But Muhammad didn't really need
the king of love, who saved mankind, the Savior.
Even on the train. Wow. 11 hours on the train. Probably twice.
And it is this issue that is still dominating the news. The African heads of state peace
You
mission
are my
has
God,
indicated that
who
the
saved
visit
my
to Ukraine
life,
and Russia
the
has had
Savior.
an impact. And South Africa's foreign policy head says a foundation has been laid for future engagement.
I think it's important to always
The king of glory,
this is a peace
who
mission.
saved
And
mankind,
until we get to a point
the Savior.
where a negotiations process is underway, we won't really say that we've had success. But what the success is that there's an opening created and a clear willingness indicated for continued engagement with African leaders in this peace mission. So we had very open discussions, sometimes very robust, which was good because both leaders were frank with our own delegation, but we were, through our presidents, equally open and frank. And so I think the mission has been received very positively, and there's commitment from both leaders for continued engagement.
She also responded to the much talked about logistical challenges that were faced by the presidential security personnel. The team couldn't travel to Ukraine and Russia.
It's important to
Jesus only
indicate from our
showed
side
his
that
disciples,
DELCO does not
go
make the
to
arrangements
the
with
world, make
respect to the
them my
president's security.
disciples.
This is
He
left to
gave
the
all the
presidential
power
protection
and
unit
authority
and the
to
responsible
cast
party to the
demons
Minister
and
of
heal
Police.
the
While
sick.
we're in Poland, we
Jesus
have
only
several
showed
hours
his
to
disciples,
wait for the train
go
that
to
we
the
were
world,
to
make them my
take to
disciples.
Ukraine.
He
And
gave
during
all
the
the
period
power
in
and
Warsaw,
authority
we had a meeting with the leadership of Poland.
the king of
And it
glory.
went exceptionally well. To the degree that the president has indicated a
Salvation for
willingness to
mankind,
undertake an
the king of
offensive
glory.
to Poland. So at the level of government of DELCO, of the
Hosanna, the
president
light
and
of the
DELCO,
world.
it is show and tell. And I have indicated that really I believe that discussions between the two leaders, they did have opportunities to have meetings between the two. President Ramaphosa will be the one who speaks on that.
The country is keenly awaiting for President Cyril Ramaphosa's announcement on this matter. Sophie Mokey, SABC News, Pretoria.
Salvation of mankind, the King of Glory, Emmanuel. Hosanna, the light of the world, the King of Glory, Emmanuel. Hosanna, the joy of the world, the King of Glory, Emmanuel. Hosanna, salvation of mankind, the King of Glory.
Hali ya kawaida ya maisha inaendelea hata pale tukibambana na magaidi. Ya, kwa sababu kule kufungwa kabisa kwa mpaka, makes it look like the criminals have succeeded in blocking people between our two countries, trade between our two countries. And as a result, smuggling, and illegal things are going on. It is better we have a formal border where taxes are being collected by Somalia on the other side, Kenya on this other side. Because in the absence of a border point, it means there is nowhere, so you will still find products moving from here to there, but there is no mechanism of checking whether the products meet standards, whether taxes have been paid. So it is good to formalize a place where people who are genuine can go there and be able to present themselves, present their goods, pay taxes, do business, so that we can deal with the criminals outside that formal engagement.
Shukran kwa kukubali bizari yangu kwenye
Asante sana. Mheshimiwa Rais, naona tumetumia muda wa ziada, muda wa akiba zidadi muda wote. Thank you very much for speaking to us this evening, Mr. President. We have not exhausted the list of questions that we had from Kenyans, but we've even extended some time so we can get some more time.
Can you allow me 1 minute?
Yes, please.
You have to get your closing remark.
Okay, before I do my closing remark, wacha niseme tumeondoa ushuru kwa aircrafts, helicopters, parts, engines. Nikasikia kaona watu wengi hapo wakisema unajua huyu president marafiki zake sijui tunasikia hata yeye yako na helicopter sijui katika ile project ya kawaida. Mimi nataka niwaeleze wa Kenya hivi. Tumeondoa ushuru kwa mambo ya aircraft kwa sababu Wilson Airport na Kenya is I think the second or third or fourth busiest airport in Africa. Hii Wilson Airport yetu hii. Na kazi kubwa ya Wilson Airport pale ni repairs, maintenance, and one more. We have a very big ecosystem of engineers and people who work in the aeronautical field who had shifted base kwa sababu wakati tuliweka hii ushuru yote wakahamia Tanzania, wakahamia Uganda. Tukapoteza biashara, tukapoteza ajira. Wilson Airport karibu inafungwa. So the same industry players kutoka Wilson Airport walikuja wakasema, jameni, mbona sasa mnatufanya tupeleke ndege zetu Tanzania ama Uganda? Na hapa ndio tuko na engineers, hapa ndio tuko na specialists ambao wanaweza kutufanyia hii kazi. It was purely because we are protecting our jobs and we are protecting our business. So that's the reason. And every other tax that I have put, it is reasoned out. And by the way, I sat in this room with every ministry, every PS, myself, with my team, to interrogate the budget. Because I have to own up and take responsibility for everything that this government does, except, of course, the ones that I cannot, Lakini, to the extent possible, I must be able to answer to the people you say, Ayub.
The people of Kenya.
Yes, the countrymen and women.
And women.
I must be able to answer to them when I am called upon to.
What if the ladies and gentlemen in the National Assembly and the Senate do not pass the finance bill? Then what?
We will cross that river when we get there. But I think I have made, and I will continue to make, a persuasive argument. I believe in engagement. I believe in working with people. That's why I'm taking time to explain myself. You know, I don't think there is any other president who has explained himself the way I do, because I want to persuade the people of Kenya. I don't want to impose things on people. I want them to understand. I want them to criticize what we are proposing. But we must all be objective. You know, is it reasonable? Does it make sense? You know, because, you know, we have a country, my friend, and I want to tell you, Latif and this great team, Eric,
Lofty,
and my dear sister here, and my good brother, that this country does not belong to William Ruto. Doesn't belong to the president. Doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to all of us. We are here. We will fly together, or we will crash together. You know. By God's grace, I am the leader today. You know, and I owe it to the people of Kenya and God, who I swore by the Bible to do the right thing for this nation. I must make a contribution. It is not always that you get an opportunity like the one I have to make a difference in a nation. And I want to be understood that whatever we are proposing, we want the best for our country. From where I sit, I understand. Many people criticize, wewe, nani alikuambia ati tunahitaji manyumba? Wewe, wacha hizo. You know, like for example, this fertilizer thing. Allow me this 1 minute. So farmers were saying, we have used DAP fertilizer for all the years. You know, we will not accept any other fertilizer. I know from where I sit, as the president of Kenya, that DAP is the wrong fertilizer for Kenya. Yet the farmers are asking for it. Did you want me to supply DAP fertilizer to them because they have asked? I said no. I told them, we are not going to use DAP fertilizer, even though you are asking for it. We are going to give you the right fertilizer. It is called NPK, and that's what we are going to supply. Many of them, today, the same farmers, you see them standing in the middle of their maize and saying, oh, this is very nice. You know, this fertilizer is very good. They're the same ones. Because I cannot do the wrong thing because people are asking for it. No, I have to do the right thing. You know, I better be criticized. I better be but I must do the right thing. And precisely why I am telling my countrymen and women, let us have a positive, honest conversation. We want to change our country. It's going to take all of us to change our country. Let us not say, because I am in a privileged position, it's not my business. It's not my responsibility. How is it my business? I mean, that's not how to belong to a nation. You know, a nation, a society is measured by the quality of goods that are available to everybody. It is not measured by what the rich have. No, it is measured by what everybody can access. Education. How are we going to make sure the plan we have to raise to 80 billion becomes, how do we deal with our health? How do we deal with our roads? How do we deal with our water? How do we deal with our electricity? How do we deal? That is what we must do collectively, and that is why we have a government. Okay. It is my plea to the people of Kenya that they listen to what we are saying.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to speak to Kenyans and to also respond to questions. This, of course, goes a long way in entrenching our democracy, and will continue holding you accountable for the words that you say.
By all means do.
And the deeds of your government.
Yes. And continue asking me the difficult questions. It is good. It's good for me.
That is our job.
Yes.
Good for democracy.
Yes.
Good for openness and transparency.
No problem.
That's our job. Wewe fanya kazi yako, sisi tufanye kazi yetu. And thank you very much for tuning into this conversation with His Excellency President William Ruto this evening. Thank you for all the questions that you had shared with us earlier. Unfortunately, we were not able to pose all the questions, but we hope that you've gotten sufficient answers to the questions that we have asked and the answers that the President has given. Asanteni sana. This has been a joint broadcast of several media houses. Have a good evening.
During the 2008 financial crisis, the stock market fell 37%, yet one man, hedge fund manager Larry Benedict, posted 23% gains. He delivered $95 million in pure profit to his clients. In the first half of 2022, he did it again. During the worst market in 50 years, those following his work saw double and triple-digit growth. What's his secret? As you'll discover, Larry doesn't invest the traditional way. His approach has nothing to do with buy and hold, and it flies in the face of everything a financial planner would ever tell you. In today's interview, he's agreed to come forward and reveal his unique method, including the name of the ticker symbol you need to get started. Larry Benedict, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, Larry, you're one of the few dozen people in the entire world to earn the label Market Wizard. I know you don't like to brag, but in fact, a whole chapter was written about you in the best-selling series Market Wizards. We actually have the book right there. There you are, right after billionaire Ray Dalio. But from what I understand, your approach is different than Dalio, Paul Tudor Jones, or any other wizard.
That's right. It's unlike anything you've probably ever seen. I call it the one-ticker retirement plan. But put simply, it's designed to help you make all the money you need in any market using just one ticker.
Okay, now Larry, I'm sure those watching at home are thinking, really? Just one ticker? That's impossible.
I know. I don't blame you for being skeptical, but I've been using this strategy for years, decades even. As a hedge fund manager, it's helped me deliver millions to my clients year after year in all market conditions, and I continue to use it today.
Well, I've heard about your historic run on Wall Street. From 1990 to 2010, you were perfect. During a period that included both the 2000 and 2008 crashes, you never had a single losing year. In fact, you did so well that your firm Banyan Capital made Barron's list of most successful hedge funds. You can see it on your screen, folks. Larry's hedge fund was ranked 36th in the entire world. Considering there are over 10,000 hedge funds, that puts it in the top 1%. That's so impressive. But all that said, Larry, you're a legit market wizard. What about folks, well, like me, who don't have a 6 or 7 figure bankroll? Is this something we can do too?
Yes, that's why I'm here today, Kim. You don't need to be a hedge fund manager to use this approach. Everyday folks can do this too.
I like hearing that. And you brought some examples with you. These are everyday people who are using different versions of your one ticker blueprint. We have a few on the screen. Chris N says, I made $12K within 3 hours. I get the feeling that Larry's strategy is the only thing I will need to retire comfortably. Thanks, Larry, for taking the decision to help common people. Rod R says, over 800%. That's my biggest 24-hour trade I've had in over 20 years. Thanks, Larry. Those are some of the biggest short-term gains I've ever seen, Larry. Obviously, everyone's experience will be different, but there are many more stories just like these.
These people aren't market wizards, Kim. As you will see, I have designed this strategy for everyone. You don't need a big nest egg to get started.
And this is true even in today's crazy market. You're not worried? There's no chance your luck is going to start running out?
One good trade is luck, Kim. Decades of proven success in good and bad markets. That's not luck. During 2008, I had one of my best years of my life. During the pandemic, I made $2 million in a single month. And this year, my one-ticker traders are crushing it in the market.
Wow, well, I'm excited to get to the bottom of this, Larry. If this approach is everything you claim it to be, this could be a game changer for anybody at or near retirement. We're talking about a recession-proof strategy designed for everyone that's proven to work in bull and bear markets, which you believe could give folks all the money they need for a comfortable retirement. Folks, Larry's agreed to give you the full story. While most folks are losing money, Those following his work have had the chance to make money almost every week. He'll reveal exactly how his strategy works. He'll lay out his track record. He'll reveal the ticker you can start using right now. And you've even agreed to perform an over-the-shoulder demonstration a little later. Isn't that right?
That's right. I've got my phone with me, and I will show you how to use my method right here on camera. It only takes a few seconds. You could start making money as early as today.
Well, great news. And is your ticker a name our viewers will recognize?
I think most people will be surprised, Kim.
Well, I should also mention, Larry's also agreed to give us his latest forecast. At the beginning of 2022, Larry told a reporter all the indexes will be negative for the year. That prediction was spot on. What's more, he's one of the few people to call the 2020 crash. He warned about it a month in advance and showed everyday folks how to profit. But now he has an even bigger and more important forecast. He's sharing it here for the first time. You'll get it a little later in the program. And on that note, let's get right into your one ticker strategy. Larry, how does it work and how did you discover it?
Well, it's funny. I discovered it by getting fired.
Wait a minute, getting fired?
Yes, you see, I've been a professional trader for more than 30 years. I've had a great career on Wall Street, but I got off to a rocky start. In my first 2 years, I got fired more times than I could count.
Seriously, you? I mean, given where you ended up, that's really surprising to hear.
Yeah, it's funny to look back on it, but at the time it was very upsetting. I would get hired, start trading, lose money over and over again. No matter what I did, nothing worked.
So then what changed?
Well, eventually I realized what I was missing. It was specialization. I was trying to trade everything. The latest hot stock, the latest trading fad. I was like a chicken with my head cut off.
So you decided to focus on just one thing?
Exactly. That became my new approach. Forgetting about 99% of all stocks, forgetting about the latest fad, finding one thing and sticking to it.
Okay, one thing, stick to it. It doesn't really get much more specialized than that.
It doesn't, and it changed everything for me. Before long, I was making $1,000 a day, then $10,000 in a day, then 100, and so on and so on.
Wow, that's fascinating. So I take it that specialization is the first component of your strategy.
Yes, my strategy boils down to 2 rules. Number 1, diversification is for dummies.
Okay, now wait a minute. I got to push back just a little bit on that, Larry. I've done some research on this, and you look at any mainstream source, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, the financial section of the New York Times, they all preach diversification. It's one of the oldest mantras in finance.
Well, let me ask you, how is that working out for everybody?
Well, yeah, I've looked at my 401k lately, and fair point, it really doesn't look all that good.
Look at the results of diversification.
Oh my goodness. As much as $3 trillion in retirement savings has been wiped out this year.
3 trillion, Kim. That's a 3 followed by 12 zeros.
And all the major 401k plans have seen losses this year?
Every single one. I think about all these poor people. They did everything right. They worked hard, saved, diversified, and now their savings is starting to disappear. This is happening all across America.
It's really so sad. We can see it on the screen there. 25% of Americans now say they'll have to delay retirement.
We're talking millions of people. And you know why? The diversification model. It is crushing people. That's why I'm coming forward today. There is a better way.
But let me ask you, is it fair to judge the system during a market like this? These are pretty unusual times. Historically speaking, the traditional retirement method has worked pretty well, right?
No, that's one of the biggest myths out there. Just look at the numbers.
Okay, we're looking at the S&P 500's long-term performance. This century, it's delivered around 7% per year. So at this rate, it would take you 36 years to turn $100,000 into $1 million retirement? Is that true? Wait a minute, 36 years?
Yes, and that doesn't even account for inflation. If you factor that in, it's probably about 50 years.
Oh my goodness, half a century?
Maybe that works if you're in your 20s, but if you're near retirement age, no way. Compare that to my strategy. As you will see, it is possible to make decades worth of gains in a matter of days.
Wow, I had no idea it took so long, Larry. No wonder we're in a retirement crisis.
I was lucky. I realized this as a young trader. You see, Wall Street figured this out a long time ago. At a big Wall Street firm, they would never tell you to trade everything. It was all about specialization. Get this, when I was at Spear, Leeds and Kellogg, I specialized in a single index, the XMI.
So all you did was trade that index?
Yes, all day, every day. It was my entire focus.
Wow, Spear Leeds was one of the most successful trading firms in the world, Larry. And you were one of their top guys. Is it common to have such a narrow focus?
Yes, on Wall Street it is. Everyone is a specialist. You have foreign currency traders, equity traders, oil traders, you even have grain traders.
And let me ask, why do they do it that way?
Think about it. When you only trade one asset, you get to know it really well. You start to understand how it moves, you detect patterns. Most importantly, you figure out how to make money from it in all markets. The proof is in the chart, Kim.
And we're looking at a chart of Wall Street trading revenue. Wow. Wall Street's making tens of billions of dollars from trading every year. Is this how they make so much money in good markets and bad?
Yes, it is so important. Please remember this. As a trader, there are no bad markets. Billions of dollars are up for grabs every year, even years like this.
Well, forget about billions. If I could just grab a few $1,000s a month from that $50 billion pile, I'd be more than happy.
You can. With a targeted trading strategy, that's 100% possible. You don't need to put off retirement. You don't have to wait for the next raging bull market. You can make money in any market.
Okay, you've got me excited here. Well, I suppose you would know too, Larry, because during your time at Spear, Leeds, and Kellogg, you went an entire decade without a single losing year. Partway through your tenure, the company opened up a new trading department. They put you in charge and named you special limited partner. Eventually, you and your colleagues were making the firm so much money that the company was bought out by Goldman Sachs. Clearly, this focused approach really has worked for you and your Wall Street colleagues. But what about others, Larry? Is anybody else using this type of approach?
Yes, it's not just Wall Street. Many of the best investors use a targeted approach. Take Warren Buffett.
Really? I thought his firm, Berkshire Hathaway, was diversified across a wide range of businesses.
Read this quote from Buffett, Kim. It's shocking.
It says, if it's your game, diversification doesn't make sense. It's crazy to put money into your 20th choice rather than your first choice. It's the LeBron James analogy. If you have basketball phenom LeBron James on your team, don't take him out of the game just to make room for someone else. Wow, I had no idea Buffett felt that way.
And here's another one.
He says diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes little sense if you know what you're doing. And does he practice what he preaches?
Absolutely. Around 2/3 of Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio is invested in just 4 stocks. You see this over and over, Kim. Look at the bond king, Bill Gross. He became a billionaire just by trading bonds. Or even Peter Thiel, who made over $1 billion in one stock, Facebook. There are so many examples of this. That's why my first rule is focus on one ticker.
Well, now I know you're going to discuss the name of that ticker in a moment, but first, tell us about rule number 2.
Well, rule number 2 is use options.
Now, Larry, okay, you know, the mention of that word sends a chill down a lot of people's spines.
I know. Most people have been told you are not cut out to trade options.
Right.
Leave it to the professionals, but I would say that that isn't true.
You think that's garbage?
Yes. Listen, I've been trading options since the 80s. I got my start in the trading pits of the CBOE. It's the largest U.S. options exchange, and I've been trading options ever since. Here's what I can tell you. Options are a dream come true for everyday folks, especially in a crazy market environment.
And why is that?
Because options work whether stocks go up or down. All it takes is a small move in the stock in either direction to potentially see huge gains.
Really? That's all it takes, just a small move?
Yes, on November 1st. I recommended an option trade. Over the next month, the underlying stock soared as high as 18%.
In a month? I mean, that's not a small move, Larry. That's a big one.
It is, but guess what? The option delivered a 300% gain in just 4 days. In other words, my readers had the chance to make 16 times more money in a fraction of the time.
Now, is that an extreme example?
No, not at all. Look at a trade I issued. This time, the underlying stock fell 5%.
And what did your option recommendation deliver on that one?
Well, on that one, we made 120% in just 9 days. That's the power of options. They have created a multiplier effect.
So in other words, an option can take a small move in either direction and multiply it by 5 times, 10 times, even 20 times or more. You can potentially make hundreds, thousands, and in your case, millions of dollars very quickly.
That's right. And with my one ticker retirement plan, I have made it as easy as possible. All you have to do is focus on one ticker.
So then you can forget about all the different market sectors. You can ignore earnings reports, Fed announcements, those talking heads on CNBC. The only thing you have to pay attention to is one ticker.
Exactly. Like I said, I've been using options and other supposedly complex trading tools for decades. They have helped me see massive returns.
Wow, 286%, 327%, even 703% in a matter of days.
Those type of gains are almost impossible to get any other way. That's why when I launched my hedge fund, I built it around options. It made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I'll say, like I said before, Larry's fund was ranked in the top 1% in the entire world. His performance was so good that he developed an international following. Your clients included the Royal Bank of Canada, the Bank of New York, and even the Saudi National Commercial Bank, among others.
Yeah, at the peak, I was managing about $800 million.
And yet you walked away from your hedge fund and shifted to helping everyday folks. Why?
Look, I was glad I was able to make money for these folks, but a few years ago, my mission changed. I got tired of helping the banks, the richest people in the world, and all I wanted to do was help everyday folks, real people who needed the help the most. So I started sharing my secrets with them. It's worked out great so far.
I'll say. Let's go through that, Larry. I want our viewers to see how it's working with real, everyday people just like them. Now, with your strategy, it's not the exact same ticker over and over again, year after year, is it?
No, what I do is focus on one ticker at a time. That's the secret. Here's how it works. I zero in on a ticker. I use it for a period of time, a month or two, maybe even more. Then when conditions change, I shift to a different one.
Okay, and can you give us some examples? We want to see this in action.
Sure, I zeroed in on ticker QQQ.
Isn't that the NASDAQ?
Right, it's a fund that tracks the NASDAQ. This is one of my favorite trading tickers. I've been recommending it for years, including this one.
That's surprising. The NASDAQ's been awful. Didn't it have its worst first half of the year ever?
It did, and for most people, it's been a disaster. But that's where my strategy comes in. In January, I recommended a QQQ trade 4 times. Each time, it was a winner.
Wow. You delivered gains like 31% in 24 hours, 106% in 3 days, 50% in 2 days, and more. So let me get this straight. During a tech meltdown, you used a fund that tracks the NASDAQ to deliver gains as high as 106% in 3 days. Your readers had the chance to more than double their money?
Isn't it great, Kim? Had I followed the so-called retirement experts, my readers would have seen double-digit losses. Instead, they could have made $5,000 or $10,000 from a fairly modest investment. Let me show you another example. I saw an opportunity in ticker MARA, MARA.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
It's a cryptocurrency miner. It's one of the few public companies that mines Bitcoin.
Larry, crypto's been all over the place. Earlier this year, people were saying that it was going through a Lehman Brothers moment. In this market, you were able to make money from a crypto play?
I recommended MARA 3 times. Once again, each one was a winner. You could have made as much as 98% in a month.
Another doubler. So none of those macroeconomic headwinds mattered, right? As crypto crashed, you kept making money from it? Your readers had the chance to make hundreds, thousands of dollars over and over again?
That's right. None of it mattered, Kim. Remember, we're not investing. the usual way. This isn't a buy and hold strategy. We don't have to ride out bear markets. We're making money now, even when the market falls.
And is this kind of performance normal? I mean, you must miss some trades, right?
Of course, no strategy is foolproof, including mine. But with a targeted approach, your win rate can skyrocket.
We can see some examples on the screen. You've gone 3 for 3 with AAPL, 4 for 5 with ARKK, 4 for 4 with VLO, and more. And you've seen gains like 79% in 3 days, 61% in 2 days, 120% in 11 days, and on and on and on.
Well, let me put these gains in perspective for you. Look at the 120% winner. Do you know how long it would take to make that following the market?
I'm guessing a pretty long time. How long?
Well, more than a decade for sure.
Wow, and your readers had a chance to do that in just 11 days.
Yeah, imagine how that impacts your life, Kim.
Right, I'm thinking about all of those people delaying retirement right now. This would be life-changing for them. Instead of pushing the date farther back, they could actually move it forward. But what about the workload? How much time does this really take?
Well, that's the best part, Kim. With this method, you get to enjoy your life. We're talking about a few trades a month. That's it. You get in, get your money, and get out.
In and out. So this is something folks could do part-time?
Absolutely. Listen, we only live once. No one should be a slave to Fed announcements, to so-called breaking news on CNBC. You should be able to travel, spend time with your family. Again, with my approach, all of this can be possible. Just focusing on one ticker.
So as long as you're up to speed on that ticker, you can forget about everything else. I love it.
Exactly. You see why I'm so passionate about this approach, Kim?
I am. I do. Yeah.
Listen, we're not breaking new ground here. Elite Wall Street traders have been using this approach for years to make billions. We are simply taking a page out of the same playbook.
So why haven't I heard about this before?
Think about it, Kim. If CNBC only talked about one stock, what would happen to their ratings? Can you imagine them saying, look, the truth is you can ignore 99% of all stocks?
No, I can't. Fair point. Their whole business model is getting you worked up about every little thing.
Exactly. They could never promote a simple approach like this. They'd go bankrupt. Same with Fidelity, E-Trade, and Robinhood, and all the rest. They want you trading everything. That's how they make money. That's why this approach remains a secret.
I just can't believe that you're able to deliver in this market. I know I keep harping on that, but it seems too good to be true. I mean, I've seen people calling this a lost year. But according to your results, your readers have had the chance to make money hand over fist.
I haven't even shown you the best results yet.
Really? There's more?
Listen to this. I have one high-end newsletter where we focus exclusively on one ticker.
One ticker the entire time?
The entire time. It's the only service of its kind as far as I know. Now, before I show you the results, please keep in mind, if you are just getting started, I don't recommend that you make this many trades.
So this is more advanced trading?
For sure. You probably want to start small and build up.
Okay.
That said, the win rates we have seen through this service are unbelievable.
Okay, well, this I need to see.
Jump back to May. As you may recall, May was awful.
Right. The Fed hiked interest rates, the crypto market crashed, and the stock market was all over the place.
Yeah, at one point the S&P was down 6%. Most folks didn't make a cent. But guess what? The first week of the month, I recommended a single ticker over and over, and we went 9 for 9.
So every single trade was a winner?
Every one. You could have doubled your money 9 separate times.
Wow, I'm trying to imagine that, Larry. Doubling my money 9 straight times in this market? Check my math here. A run like that turns a series of $1,000 trades into $9,000, or $10,000 trades into $90,000 in a week.
That's right. Isn't that pretty amazing?
It really is. And I'm thinking of the millions of folks who've seen nothing but red this year. In 1 week, they could have made up for all of those losses and then some. But tell me, was this a fluke?
I don't think so. Jump back to April.
Another terrible month.
That's right. From beginning to end, the S&P lost 9%. But not my readers. I showed them how to make money every single week.
Wait, anybody who followed your recommendations could have grown their wealth 33%? 33% growth, while the market lost 9%?
Think about what that means. Do that every month. That's 400% for the year.
And in a bear market, too.
Obviously, I'm not guaranteeing that, but you get the point. With this approach, no matter what's going on, it is possible to compound your wealth quickly.
So we're looking at a snapshot of some of your week-long win streaks. March, 11 for 12, a 92% win rate. February, 8 for 8. January, 6 for 8. December, 13 for 14. November, 6 for 7, and on and on. Of course, we all know the past doesn't equal the future, but wow, it's hard to argue with that kind of success.
This is the best way to make money in the market, Kim. Even if you only trade a few times a month, the money can add up fast. You could be looking at thousands of dollars every month with plenty of time to enjoy your life.
Well, that sure sounds better than managing dozens of stocks, shorting, trying to time the bottom, or really any other approach I hear people promoting right now.
It's so much better than that, Kim. That's why everyday folks are loving it. Look at these results.
And we have a few more examples. Todd wrote, this morning at 9:40 a.m., I am at Lowe's buying stuff to paint my house and check E-Trade on my phone while I'm in the store. I made over $7,000. I quickly closed out the positions in the store and smiled as I checked out. Thank you, Larry. After a recommendation, Polly said, well done, please keep them coming. You now have my attention and I am on the alert now for all of your recommendations. Thank you. Wow, those are amazing.
Again, these are not professionals, Kim. Anybody can get started right now, even if they have very little experience. It only takes a few seconds to place a trade. Here, let me show you.
All right, let's see.
So I go to my brokerage account.
Okay.
And I'm looking for the most active option, which is